Welcome back to the Witch's Way podcast. This is a special hurricane edition. On Sunday, October 6th. I'm Kat.
Is it? I'm Jamie.
Yep.
It's October 6th.
It's October 6th.
I didn't look at I don't know where I watched
It's October 6th. We are in Southwest Florida, Sarasota, Venice, to be specific. Sarasota County, if you've never heard of Venice.
Yeah.
Nokomis, if you've never heard of Nokomis. That's Sarasota County.
This is where we're at. And why we feel like this is an important...
because the hurricane that's forming out in the Gulf, which I think his name is Milton. Milton, what a name.
Milton.
He is forming out in the Gulf and right now making a beeline for the Florida coast. And we just went through Hurricane Helene. So we are all feeling some crazy...
Yeah. And in August, we had Debbie, which flooded everything. I mean, so like this is the third one to hit our area to really impact us. And we're fucking overwhelmed.
We're exhausted. We're tired. We had the eclipse. Our energy's been low.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, if you turn on the news, you're seeing all of the destruction now after
Oh,
Helene.
my gosh, with Asheville.
With Asheville, with, you know, the floodings, just so terrible. But even in our own area, we're starting, the county is starting to get out, or people
we were trying to clean up,
are trying to get out and get pictures of what the coastline looks like and what certain things look like. And I saw a video this morning of the South Jetty. It looks like it's
my gosh, it turned into a beach. Did you see on one side it's like the sand, the rocks are gone, everything. Oh my god.
So,
I know,
you know, a jetty that people would fish off of and has been there for a long time. It looks like a lot of the asphalt's gone out of the parking lot there. It is too.
Yep.
And there's a building there that's
the snack shack,
lopsided, sort of like
it got thrown off its base.
Yeah, it got thrown off its base.
Well, and Crow's Nest, the whole underneath of that got decimated. We went by there last night. People did return the chairs and doors that they found all over.
So chairs, and there's a really nice restaurant that we've gone to,
Crow's Nest. It's a what do you call it? It could be historical, maybe not, but it's been here like forever. Like my husband's grandparents were going there. Like it's just been here through many generations.
Yeah. And
it's a staple in Venice. Everybody knows Crow's Nest. Anyway, so we decided that we would do a podcast for today because this is what's on our minds. A lot of the witches that we know are here in Florida, or they're at least on the East Coast like this. They're kind of watching all this stuff happen, and we get people that reach out to us, and of course we're grateful, and we try to stay in contact and let everybody know that we're doing fine, and we check in on our other witches. But you don't really have a choice to necessarily go anywhere. Not everybody has the chance to flee and get out, and where are you going to go and where are you going to stay, and we have animals that we have to take care of, and there's just all this other shit that goes along with you're watching a natural disaster coming at you. Like it's a weird feeling to sit here for 3 days prepping and making sure you've got things. You know, stuff starts running out, you can't get shit delivered. I mean, if you weren't prepared 5 days ago before you knew it was going to happen, you're kind of SOL in a lot lot of ways. Like
Definitely.
It's a scurry. Yeah.
Definitely. I know my former boss, it's kind of my semi-boss now, but anyway, he lives about an hour and 50 minutes south of here in Cape Coral, and he tried to order some
alternative
sandbags off of Amazon. He just ordered them today. He can't get them till Saturday.
Yeah, most stuff won't get here till the weekend.
Everything that's coming from Amazon or even other deliveries, I think they're not guaranteeing any. Nobody's going to be shipping quick. Nobody's going to be shipping in because everybody's prepping for what's to come. So I was doing fine this morning. I was like working on my grimoire. I was cleaning my house. I was waiting for Jamie to get here so we could work today. And then my brother texts me. He's like, if you need to ride out the hurricane, then I talk to you, and you're like, we're definitely going to flood here. And
I'm going to flood at my house,
Jamie will flood at her house. She's only about...
I'm in zone A, so I'm right by the water.
She's right by the water.
Yep.
And I'm not by the water, so I'm in zone C. I'm away from the water.
But you have flooding. Like, you flooded during Ian.
I flooded during Ian.
Yeah.
I didn't flood my house, but my street was literally a river, and
the water came right up to your sidewalk, though. Like, came up, not sidewalk, entryway or entry walk.
It came up about halfway up my driveway.
Yeah.
Because we moved John's car into the garage.
I remember, yeah. We came by. So that's where we're at right now, and we thought we would just address some of the things that you can do, how to think about the storms that are coming. You know, I think what gives us a lot of anxiety is just sort of you get in this habit of turning on the news and you're like, maybe it'll turn, maybe it'll go this way, maybe it'll go that way. And normally a lot of our storms come from the south and head north, right? But this is coming from the west and headed east. So it's just like, it's going to hit Florida. It's hitting somewhere. We're all going to get a shit ton of rain, which is bad when our ground is already soaked because all the trees and the power lines, we're going to be without, like, it's just a lot to think of. And you're like, all right, what do I need to do to prepare for the next, 2 weeks of being uncomfortable, things being trashed, just kind of your life being in disarray for a while, I think. And you get to watch it coming. I think that's the really weird part is it's just this impending date of doom a little bit. And that really fucks with my energy. Like, it makes me not want to do anything else.
You can't focus on stuff. Fuck with your energy because you're on the edge. You're on edge. Yeah, true. You're on edge and like, have you thought? And you just don't know what the impact is. It's going to flood. How bad is it going to flood?
Right.
How strong are the winds going to be?
Yeah.
Is it going to tear up? I mean, it's the town. I mean, our beaches and anything close to the beach is already
wrecked.
Damaged, and streets are gone, and not streets, roads, like asphalt roadways. It's
washed out,
along the coast, right along the coast,
and and from this last one, what I think about is with the flooding and the rain and more of the storm surge. Everybody already has their shit out at the curb.
Yes,
the dressers, beds, carpet rolls, drywall, like there's all this debris piled up higher than my head along the streets of the houses around me. I'm lucky I live in a Key West house, so mine is on stilts, but we have that lower level floor that does flood. But like the main living space isn't going to, I don't think. Like the water would have to come way up.
It would have to be like 12 feet. That's probably not good. That'd be like tsunami.
My fucking office, my witchy office will flood.
My God,
I know,
your office.
I just can't even think about it.
You got to get sandbags up against that door.
I'm telling you. So there's just what I was going to say is like we have another thing coming here, and there's already the debris that's out on the road that is not contained in houses that's going to wash through the neighborhoods. It's going to be thrown around. In storms, it's the flying debris and the stuff that's in the water that makes it so dangerous. When you've got first responders out there, you've got people trying to help each other. All that shit is about to be washed out into the roads and across the Gulf, and it's mind-blowing. I'm like,
when you look at Lake Lure, Lure, North Carolina is a town that was on a lake, obviously a little, I don't know if it was a resort town or a little cozy town up in the mountains, but that town, the lake is completely filled with, like, it looks like matchsticks, but it's all the lumber and all the
pieces of houses
the debris,
and stuff.
Yes, all the houses that collapsed.
I did see that, yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, when you think about our streets could look like that, you're not going anywhere. I mean, that's major. So it's nerve-wracking, and we're feeling it. I know anybody who lives here in Florida is preparing, worried, spending their energy on it. And so what we really want to talk about, we had to vent about what's going on
first. To get all the feelings out.
We need to get all that out so that we can be like,
I need to breathe.
And so what we're going to talk about, though, is like what we can do as witches and as
spiritual practices. Yeah, like how do we handle this shit that's coming at us? Yeah.
How do we handle it? So
I think the first thing that I always think of, and what I often send to witches and friends and anybody who needs, like, when they ask for help, this is the first thing that I imagine. I send energy to them that feels like straight from my heart chakra of, okay, let them feel the healing power of this. Like, that's what I can do. And it's not like I hold a steady stream of that for hours upon end, but when I speak their name and I think of them and I close my eyes and I send this concentrated, almost like a sound wave directly at them, when we get together and we're all thinking the same things, rather than being sort of held down by all this fear and gloom and doom, it's like, okay, sending healing energy, love and light, whatever it is, whatever you think of, to the places that are about to be hit. It's like, remind everybody to be safe, like start being prepared. We're going to, as long as we know what we can do, things can be okay.
Well, also, I think just like protection, any type of just protection in general, because I feel like this whole coast needs like a
don't say it,
needs a
protection spell over it.
Yeah,
no, we can't.
But it's not. One of the things we were going to talk about is how these natural disasters are part of
the Earth cycles.
They're part of Earth cycles, and I did hear or read somebody say that we're in a El Niño a cycle, and so this is normal for that type of cycle, but I don't know. I haven't like read up on it. I just somebody made a comment about that.
Yeah. Just that it's through the cycles, but I think having that the collective energy, and you can use the word prayer or a spell or just the energy send out. That's what I think of in whatever way that you can. I think that that's a good way to shift our energy and try to hold space for something that's more positive, like thinking about protection is a positive thing, like just keep them safe, imagine a barrier around them. I don't think of like the shield of light that I always do. What I think of instead is get the little messages that's like, leave now, don't go that way. I think about all these other little feelings of like, go do that really quick, and then all of a sudden, the next 5 minutes the power goes out, but you just went and got all the things you needed. I look for these little nudges that I get to act on my intuition during these times of like, okay, what am I thinking that I need right now? And it's not necessarily a thought. It's like, what's my gut telling me to do? Like, I just spent $200 on solar stuff because I was like, I fucking know I'm going to lose power. And I already know when I lost power 2 years ago and last year, it's like, what did I really need that I didn't get? And I was like, oh, I'll do that for next time. But after the storm's over, you forget the things that you're
cleaning up, and then you're like relieved that you still have a house, and everybody's safe, and you've checked on all your loved ones and friends, and everyone made it through, and then you forget, and then you go on with your life, cleaning up messes and trying to restore normalcy. So then you don't go out and buy the solar lights. You don't stock up on all the things you might need for the next hurricane.
Yeah, for the next thing.
This one's just coming so quick. When was the last one? Like
10 days ago.
Jeez.
I know. Like I'm not even done cleaning up the mess from Debbie from August.
I haven't put my yard back together since.
I did pick up your table and chairs the other day because Tank's ball went behind there. So
I know,
you might want to lay him back down.
I'm going to lay it right back down though because.
Yeah. All my shit is still piled up in the corner, but I did ask Tony to order bungee cords and covers, which was before I knew the hurricane was coming because of what just happened. I was like, you know what? This stuff gets so dirty. Like, can we order that? Because it was just freshly in my mind after it. What was it? It was just like Thursday that I just ordered this stuff because I need to bungee cord my stuff to the poles, to keep it all together.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, I need bigger bungee cords for that and like furniture covers maybe, but yeah.
Something else, sending those signals out or asking for spirit, team of light, the protectors,
guardian angels,
whoever, to get those messages to people who need them to move, to get the stuff that they need,
to make the right decisions,
to turn down the right street instead of the wrong street, things like that. Where you can, one of our witch friends said, hide from wind, run from water.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So depending on where you are, that sounds like good advice to me.
Definitely.
I think another thing that's really helpful is a mantra that you can repeat. And for me, like, I'm doing one right now that's 2 or 3 sentences. It's for something completely different. But it's 2 or 3 sentences, and I have to read it every time. So if you have to read it, that's okay. It still has the same meaning behind it.
Of course.
I'm reading it a couple of times. Then after I read it a couple of times, then I can almost get the whole thing down.
Yeah.
So something that you can say, the energy that you're sending out that's really positive about, protecting people, protecting our cities and our residents, and
and first responders, the people that are really like going to risk life and limb for the people who didn't do what they were supposed to do. Like, I always think about that. They're the ones that
all of it
go out in it, and it's like, fuck. Okay, well,
so that's kind of like a group thing that you can do. If you can have a group of witches that you work with, or people that you can start a little chat where you're like, today, you know, or just a reminder of more things that you can say in a chat to be like, we're sending this energy out. Everybody think about this right now for the next 5 minutes. There's power in that. There's power in the individual too.
1,000%. For me, it's I have a candle that I have an area of my house that I usually place a candle in and light it, especially when I, like, number one, it makes sense because I'm probably losing power at some point, but that candle is the representation of keeping things going, like keeping life, keeping safety, keeping, you know, the elements of protection around you. I know that it's going to transform things. Like, nothing's going to stay the same when a natural disaster is coming at you or after it's happened. So that fire of transformation is like, what good can we get out of when bad things happen to us, you know, because it's about the experience. There's so much we could talk on and hit on that, but we did put together 2 rituals for you guys, and before we get to that, I want to talk about how I try to connect with what the earth is doing and not take it so personally when a fucking hurricane is headed right at me and be like, why?
I know,
you know, right?
All I said when I heard, I was like, again?
Yeah, like,
already?
WTF, why?
WTF is right. So
I think it's about, Earth's energies, right? When we want to connect with the Earth's energies. And as a witch, I do love me a good storm, a good rainstorm, a good powerful wind coming through. God, I can really feel the power of it. It's a little different when it's a hurricane force power. Like, I'm not stepping out into that. It's not safe. But there is power in these Earth's forces that kind of come through and rearrange shit. I mean, that's the best way to say it, is like they come through and they rearrange the landscape. You know, of course, we're here living. So imagine all of this going on if we weren't here, right? This is just what the earth would be doing naturally if humans weren't living in all of these places.
Yeah.
So I try to remember that it's not happening to me specifically. That, like, the earth would be doing this anyways, and these are cycles of renewal and rebirth of places, reorganizing stuff, even cutting down things that have had time to become overpopulated, like destructive insects, or I think of the kudzu vine that grows everywhere. You know, it's like that shit was introduced and not supposed to be in this area. I'm doing air quotes now because invasive is, you know.
What's a kudzu vine?
Oh, the kudzu vine. It's, well, I read that it's called the vine that ate the South, which I love that, because when you drive through areas, it is literally over every single treetop. You have no idea what's behind it. It's like a green curtain over everything, and it grows about a foot a day. So it grows wild, like, it's crazy. But it's originally from,
and it kills everything, I'm sure,
because it smothers it. Yeah, it outcompetes for everything, and they had no idea that this was going to happen. They actually brought it into the States as something that would retain soil, like, what do they call it when it holds soil all together? I'm thinking of tree roots and shit.
So it prevents erosion.
Yeah, it stopped erosion, but it was like holding in the soils. They had a name for it, but can't think of it. So that's why it was brought here, because they saw that
they bring it from, do you know?
Southeast China and Japan, they both grow it there. So, you know, that area is rockier. It doesn't have as much soil as what we have, right? So that's, maybe it didn't grow so ferociously over there, but you put it in an area like this where it's got soil for days and everything to climb up, and, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Florida snow. It's a type of grass or weed that we have here. It's taking over my yard, literally.
It takes over everything.
It takes over everything. I'm like, oh, I think it's killing my what used to be grass out there, because
it smothers it.
It smothers everything. So, you know, one thing, I guess I'm going to make a confession here, because
oh boy.
And I try to always look at things in a positive light, but sometimes I see these disasters and I think to myself, Mother Earth is pissed. And she's saying, fuck you humans.
Oh,
and
Lord.
I'm going to start taking back what's mine because you guys are fucking it up. And I don't stay on that thought very long, but I'm just going to put it out
but you
there
can
for
see
you.
it.
If you're one of those that has thought that, you're not the only one. And then I guess we have to say, I guess my next comment about that would be that I don't see Mother Nature as vindictive, but I do see Mother Nature as something that could want to reclaim what belongs to her. I do see that, but not in a vindictive way, more in a survival mode, like
Yeah.
I have to, like
I get that.
the earth is, she's going to survive, and maybe for her to survive, she has to wipe some things out and let us start from scratch, because we didn't learn the first time that we should respect her. And
there's a movie about that.
Is there?
The Day After Tomorrow. I fucking love that movie.
I don't remember
It's
that.
all destruction and, just all the it sends the earth back into an ice age. And
Okay. I'm sure I've seen it, but I just don't remember.
yeah, it's probably like 20 years old.
Oh, it's Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, Day After Tomorrow. I love that movie because it's it was based off some real science, where as the ocean temperatures start changing, our storms are changing and things become more violent or catastrophic. But of course it's a movie, so they need the whole earth to change in about 3 days. So it can't be a movie that lasts like 20 years.
Well, and we know the earth is changing. I was reading or scanning an article about how much green there is in Antarctica now. Mm-hmm. And Antarctica is supposed to be ice, frozen tundra.
Antarctica,
and now, and now it's greenery there, so that tells you. So the planet's changing, and we'll adapt to it. Of course, we'll have to as the people that inhabit it. But
I don't have like a conspiracy on the whole.
Oh, I
we're
definitely don't.
Destroying the earth and all the thing. I don't know. There's a lot of things that go into it, but what I do know scientifically, which I always go back to when people are saying, all this is fucking up the earth and we're going to be this and that. What people don't know unless they dig really deep and get nerdy like I am, the poles of our planet actually swap. The north and south poles, like our actual magnetic north and south poles, switch. And we know that because there's ocean floor that when volcanic rock comes out, my God, I can't even find my words. When lava, hot magma escapes the earth.
Magma.
Yeah, I was thinking that was from a line. Liquid hot magma. It's like the guy with the pinky to the thing. Austin Powers. Austin Powers, yeah. Magma. Anyway, nerdy movie. When the magma comes out from the ocean floor, so we don't see it, right? And we're not researching it. You got to go to the ocean floor to really understand this. Well, they've been taking these samples, and what they find is on these, basically looks like a dune, but these rifts within the ocean floor, you guys can look this up, ocean rifts, and the ions that are pointing on one side of the rift, it is pointing what our normal north and south pole are, and on the other side, they're fucking flipped. And that could only happen because that lava came out when the poles were actually fucking flipped. Now, recorded history, we don't know shit about shit, right? Because we haven't been exploring the ocean floor since 10,000 years ago. Yeah. But this is the things that have already happened. We can see into our past and know that those things are happening, and that this is just a cycle that the earth is going through. Well, but for us, we're going to be like, what the fuck? Everything's ending. It's Judgment Day. It's whatever.
Well,
I don't know.
We have, we can look back and know there was different ages of, there was Ice Age and Bronze Age and whatever the ages were.
Well, I think Bronze Age was just like humans making shit, but the Ice Age.
Oh, well.
That's
true. The Bronze Age. That's not really the Earth thing, is it? But I mean,
I love that. What they had access to. Hey, with all of this switching around and stuff, that's another thing. Minerals come up. Minerals are washed up. Things are found. I don't know. It's hard to look at it and say, here we've got all this human loss of life, destruction of things we've built, but on the other hand, it's like the earth is just going through the natural cycles, and we're in it. We're in the load the washing machine, wash it, spin it, clothes come out, dry it. It's like we're in that cycle.
And even the floods. I mean, the floods actually replenish soil with silt and nutrients. We have swimming pools full of sand here.
Oh Lord!
So
I'm not sure that's the kind of replenishing, but more like
that's a bit
the
extreme.
Rivers. Yeah, the rivers that flood the land around them gets really, really fertile. I think for my thinking about humans, it's how we will move into places. Like, oh God, I always think about the sugar cane and the lake and with our red tide, Lake Okeechobee, and how they took away the estuaries there and made a straight funnel out to the Gulf, and that's what allows this major algae blooms, right? So we're deconstructing nature's natural systems that keep it moving and keep things healthy and flowing. And we're like, no, we want just get this fucking water out of here. We don't care. And we're going to build houses right up to the thing.
We're building on top of everything, and
building where we shouldn't.
Tearing down trees, and there's a lot of growth here in our area. You know, building here in our area.
The construction in Florida area is so crazy.
So. And the consequence of that is the water doesn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
When it's nothing but houses, then where does the water go when you have hurricanes, which are natural occurring phenomenon?
Well, it's the same thing of like weather, you think about the
whatever you call it,
lake. I'm going to say the word wrong. Pontchartrain,
Louisiana.
Yes, and how the dam that was built. So we do all these things where we alter the natural land, and so when disasters come in, it's like that wasn't made for that. Okay, so that's not what nature used to do with that.
And that's what's happening. I think that's a lot of what's going on in North Carolina. Like they had a pre-event before the hurricane came in, so they'd had a lot of rain already, and it was days of rain, and I can't remember what the inches were, but their ground was very, very saturated. So one of the things of course, that means the dams were full, the rivers were full, the ground was really wet, so they've had like mudslides and stuff like that. Well, it wasn't just the hurricane that did it. It was that pre-event of all the rain that they got before the hurricane ever got there, and just was a deluge on top of everything else. So I know Lake Lure had a dam. I don't think the dam failed, but you know.
Well, what I think of is I've seen this one video where they built an apartment complex, okay, and it's right next to a mountain, or mountain. Depending on where you're from, you could be like, that's a fucking hill. It's not a mountain. We're in Florida where it's flat. Everything's a mountain to us if it's over like 10 feet tall. No, but it was, it's an apartment complex that they built kind of on the side of a very large hill / mountain, very rocky. And they were like, oh, we need a fucking parking lot. So what did they do? They just sliced off the edge of this mountain and put up a fucking wall. And they were like, yeah, we'll just wall this off, stop the rocks from falling.
Holy shit.
You know what happened? The whole fucking thing collapsed, because that's not the way mountains don't just have a drop off like that. So when the ground needs to shift, it needs a place to go. And the wall came down and took out the whole parking lot, all the cars, and people were in the complex filming it. And it was like, yeah, we create structures where natural things should be, and I don't want to say I blame it. I'm not placing blame anywhere, but what the fuck, builders? Like, you can't just do whatever you want. I think that they should consider.
I saw that happening in California. So I grew up in San Diego, and then years later, when I went back, I saw where they were lopping off the tops of mountains, and they were like, they wanted room to build. So, and it was very mountainous there, and out in the east part of the county where I grew up, lots of mountains.
Yeah.
And so they were just like. They were just
flattening them.
They were flattening them, or they were making ledges so that they could build roads, and then they were putting the houses actually on the hill. And I mean, when you see even on the coast, you see people build right on the fucking coast,
cliff,
right
on the cliff,
right there where the ocean is. It's like they're on stilts and everything, but okay. I mean, that was pretty ballsy of you to do that.
That's what I think. I'm like, okay. Is it really Mother Nature's fault, or did you just get too arrogant and be like, I'm going to put a house right here and fuck Mother Nature and all the things that she had going on in this place? Like, you're just, I feel like it's a big fucking middle finger. Like, there you go. Well, we don't believe you're going to do anything.
And, I mean, we're just not learning. Like, we'll rebuild, and it'll happen again, and we'll rebuild, and it'll happen again, and like,
Yeah.
That's floods, landslides, and all of nature's cycles. She's been doing this since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
This has been.
We're just caught in the cycles and taking it personally.
Yeah. Building where we shouldn't.
Shaping
trying to shape the land in a unnatural way where the water. We had one of our communities, and it wasn't even. I don't even think it was a hurricane, but we had a bunch of rain here a month or so ago.
Laurel Oaks or something?
Laurel Oaks, It's a neighborhood of 86 houses.
Not in a flood zone,
Not in a flood zone. And the houses had been there for 25 years. Mm-hmm. And this entire neighborhood flooded. and they were like, and there's building going on around them. So all of the homeowners is like, this is never, every single home had 4 feet of water in it.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Every fucking home.
Yeah.
And one of the guys walked to the edge of like the development, and then the flood stopped right there. It's like, so
yeah,
I
what
feel like,
happened?
Yeah, so something, the building, the not planning, the just taking away where water naturally needs to go.
Right.
And just being like, well, we'll just divert it here and give you a little spill or a little,
retention pond.
Yeah, or a retention pond.
Oh my God.
Or, a 4-foot concrete to try to direct the water. I'm losing my words
the
here.
word, yeah.
Yeah, like the concrete things, the tunnel things that the water flows through. And just put those in, and that'll be enough. But when it's not enough, then that water,
it backs up, there's nowhere for it to go.
When that water can't move fast enough, when it can't move through those pipes fast enough, those big concrete pipes that they put there to divert water and get it out to the Gulf, guess what? It's going to be in people's houses, in their neighborhoods. Yeah. So, okay. So now that we've talked all that, and I'm actually starting to feel better because
you got it out.
Because I think I just needed to get it out.
It's frustrating.
So now we're going to talk about some rituals, some things that we can do
to help with
for
this
healing, protection.
Yeah.
In the aftermath, is this all?
No, the first one that I wrote is really I think you could do this at any point, but both of them can be. But the other one is like, it's relevant now. We're going through it now. It's like, do you want to hang on to all the negative emotions? How do we release them? How do we not feel this for so long? Because as we know, like, hanging on to this negative shit just brings more negative shit. And I don't really want that. I want to have a positive outlook on what I'm doing. Even if I know damage is coming, that doesn't mean that I have to feel negative about it. It's just being prepared.
Too. Fear drains you of your energy and leaves you in a state of
you're not receptive, right? And you're not receptive to, like, I think of when I'm in that really low state, I'm not receptive to what my spirit guides might be trying to tell me and get me to see and recognize. So trying to stay high vibe as much as I can. Like, all right, let's not fucking freak out too much, but let's do some preparedness.
Yeah, but preparedness, and then realizing that we're probably all going to get through it. I mean, we will get through it. Yeah. There will be damage, and we'll deal with it after.
Yeah.
So what can we do while we're waiting for this thing to hit for 3 damn days? Because that's even worse. So, like, what can I do?
It's the anticipation.
What can I do instead of laying around and feeling depressed and tired, and I just want to let me just go to bed and put my head under the covers.
You almost want to ignore it.
I do want to ignore it.
That's how I felt.
I don't want to deal with it.
I don't either. I didn't get up and get dressed till 11 o'clock this morning because I didn't want to deal with it. I was like, no.
Well, you know what? I was fine until everybody started talking about it. My whole thing has been, ever since I heard about it, I was like, again, and then I blocked it.
And then you were like, nope.
I'm just not even going to think about it. I'm not in a flood zone.
Yeah.
And I can't worry about all the things that are going to happen because it sucks my energy.
Because it's out of your control also.
And it's out of my control.
It's out of our control. All the things that are happening are out of our control. So what we can focus on is the things that we can control. That's it. And that's being the preparedness and all of that. So I really think about, like, when we create sacred spaces in our homes as witches, and we have disasters or we have things that are coming where it really fucks with that sacred space, it doesn't feel sacred anymore because it's almost like the impending things come over you, and now it's filling every space of the uncertainty. And how do we prepare? And maybe you got to put shit up on blocks and, pack things up. And maybe you even have to leave your home. Like, maybe you've got to evacuate. And it's how do you take a little bit of that sacred space with you while you travel or where you go? And I think the easiest way to do that is always to have an affirmation ready to go. And so we did write one. And it's not, reframe this in any way that you can think of. Make it unique for you. But I think first addressing Mother Earth, because I think of it as a whole system and not just this hurricane. I'm not going to talk to the fucking hurricane, but Mother Earth as a whole. Yeah. The one who provides for us. All of the things that we need also come from Mother Earth. The destruction is from it, but also the renewal is from it. Mother Earth, I honor your power. Help me ground, heal, and rebuild. As I heal, so do you. So that was it's very quick and simple, You can repeat that. Mother Earth, I honor your power. I truly do love that. I love standing out in the rain and the wind and like feeling it. I really do.
Now and
it's already raining here.
It's raining pretty hard outside. And I'm like, I love the rain.
I honor the power of Mother Nature for sure. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I like going down, and I don't go the day of when the storm's really crazy, like the people who fell off the jetty a couple weeks ago. But going down when the waves are like really crashing in and you can feel the spray of the ocean, and just you're just like, wow, the immense power that comes from that, to be able to move an ocean, to create these waves, to just there's a lot of power in that. And then for me, so going from honoring Mother Earth, I honor your power, to back to us, help ground me, like stay realistic. To ground during this time is to more be present, be realistic, be paying attention. That's what grounding means here. Be with your feet on the ground. Don't be with your head in the clouds and worried and fear and emotions that are, you're experiencing, but nothing's actually happening to you yet. So it's for grounding, and then to heal those things, like to let that go, or to say it and let it float away from you. It's like deal with the things as they come. And last, to rebuild. So you've got ground me, heal me, rebuild. Like just be there through all those processes. And what I really loved this one, as I heal, so do you. Like, because the storms do technically come through, and there's good things that can be said about them. As destructive and crazy as they are, there are good things that come out of some of the storms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels really...
we didn't have water. I mean, we didn't have rain. Like, we were virtually in a drought here earlier this year.
We were in a drought for almost 2 years. Our water table levels had fallen behind by 2 years worth of rain.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, so there's a cycle again. Drought,
it's a cycle,
and heavy rains, and the replenishing. And so, it was getting... It was really getting worrisome, because
it was. There was a big thing, especially up in Gainesville. I think I told you earlier this year, where they were talking about having to drill further down into the earth to find water, because all of the neighborhoods that they've built up there now, the amount of water you've got, they were starting to eliminate, like not eliminate, but really regulate how people use sprinklers, because the groundwater, they're just running so low. It was going to be this $4 billion drill thing to find a deeper aquifer for people to have regular water.
That's crazy. So, and now here we are.
And now here we are. We've got too much water. The balancing. So with saying an affirmation, there's other things that you can do, like putting your hands on the earth and sending love and gratitude to the planet. Maybe... I always think about the energy grid lines that run through our planet, and I consider my own yard and everything having its own energy grid lines. Excuse me. And that when I touch the earth, I send out that healing vibe to like all of my plants, everything that's being used there as a resource, the protection of my property. And that's a ritual that I do when I'm out planting and gardening and stuff. So you can go and place your hands on the earth and send love and gratitude towards the planet, and ask for its healing and that balance be restored, because we're getting out of balance right now. Like, I need to pull back this curtain. This rain is ridiculous.
Rain. I'm like
all of a
looking
sudden.
at it out the other. I'm like looking at it out the other window, and I can just see it on the roof. I can see it on my neighbor's roof, like how hard it's hitting, and you can hear it.
Downpour.
I don't know if it's picking up on our microphones, but if you hear something, like, that's the rain that's hitting.
Background that's where it's starting. These bands of rain that are coming through. So that's the first one. It's a grounding for rebuilding in a sense of security or safety. And then the second one is probably better for after a natural disaster or storm or something, but I've never done a 2-candle spell or a 2-candle ritual before like this, you guys, so I'm kind of proud of it, I gotta say. It's a 2-candle cleansing ritual to release trauma and inviting in peace. So it's 2-candle because you're going to have 2 different colors.
I actually think you could do this now while you're trying to not have
freak out
fear. While you're trying not to, like, you're trying to stay calm and keep your perspective on, yes, it's, I feel like you could do it now too. Yeah. So
I guess I just think of the release because it's after the storm. But yeah.
Sure.
Do you want to read through it? Did you already read through it?
No, I didn't. But I see that. So it's 2 candles. Mm-hmm. And white candle.
So 2 colors. Yeah.
2 colors, white and black candle.
And black for me is always protection. So it's weird to put black in there, but I do understand that it's also, I think of it only as protection, but I couldn't think of another color to put that's like the opposite of inner peace and healing. Like, we don't really have a color that represents release negative shit, but black is one of those that can, like when you have black tourmaline is more of a releasing one. Mm-hmm. So anyway, sorry, that was a side note on my thinking.
Well, I was thinking about the candles that I have, and while I don't have black candles, I have little black candles for spells.
You don't need huge ones.
But I also have like black and white jar,
like jar.
Holders for it. So if you don't have
anything that symbolically what's the word?
Resembles, yeah.
Represents. Yeah.
Sorry, not resembles, but represents.
No, same. Yeah. Like one for peace, healing, feeling secure, safety, and then the other one that's going to represent releasing your negative energies and tensions and fears and worries and all the bullshit we go through as we prepare for this.
Okay, so if you want to, you could even put some healing herbs with them, like lavender, sage, or rosemary. So you imagine setting up a little spot where you're going to light these candles. So light the black candle first, and as you light that black candle, or as that candle burns, you can speak about all the things that you're feeling, like what you've experienced, the sadness, the anger, all the things. It's like you're getting it out.
Yeah, you're speaking it to the candle.
Speaking it to the candle.
Speak it to the candle, to that flame that's transforming it and taking it away.
Mm-hmm. And as you do this, you can imagine all of those words and feelings being burned up. I also think for me, it's always like burning things.
Yeah.
I might write them on a piece of paper.
Definitely.
And then, use that as like maybe even my ending. Like, here's the things that I just want to get rid of.
Yeah.
I don't want to be fearful.
No, I know. I would rather feel more prepared and less scared.
Yeah. So do that as, getting all of that out.
Get all that shit out of you.
Get all that shit out of you.
Yeah.
And then after a few minutes, you put out the black candle and light the white candle.
So we're switching modes here, which that's what I've never done before. I've never gone from like release all this shit with one candle and let it go.
Yeah.
And then turn to the candle that's going to give you more peace and inspiration. And you're asking for a totally different vibe, turning it to this one over here. Mm-hmm. So you're going to light the white candle.
So
I looked at Kat and told her, like, keep going.
Light the white candle, and then holding the healing herbs, if you're using those.
Yeah.
Speak a prayer or affirmation of peace and renewal. Like, you might say something like, with the light of this flame, I invite healing, calm, and peace into my heart, mind, and body.
Yeah.
And at this point, you allow the white candle to burn fully or for as long as you need while sitting with it in quiet reflection. That sounds so peaceful. That thinking about that just makes me feel.
You can envision it, right?
I can absolutely envision it, and I can envision how I know how I would feel doing it too.
Yeah.
It would be like all that stuff just washed away for me. So
for me, I think about placing trust in the things that are happening in my life, that they're for purpose. And when I think about peace, I think about trust that goes with it. Mm-hmm. To be able to feel peace, knowing that like everything is going to be okay, and we're going to get through it, whatever it is, I mean, down to having somebody die. Like, I know I can get through that. Because when I think of worse, I don't know where people's minds go for that, but mine is always like losing a family member, somebody dies, something like that. Death is always the hardest for me. I feel that so much, know. I mean, it would also feel like I lost a life if I lost my whole house. That would feel like I lost a life. Gosh. That would be fucking horrible. But you know what I immediately turned to is like, oh my God, then we could rebuild and it would look like this, or I could add on that, a fucking viewing tower. Like, I think of things that I could do. So I still try to turn that into a positive. But when you lose like, a family member, you're not really replacing that. That's a longing forever. So yeah. I think of like just trusting the process of the lessons it's going to bring me, of the things that are supposed to happen. I'm growing in more preparedness and awareness, and that's my peace talk to myself, is like, you've got this. You're going to be okay. It'll be all right. Yeah.
And you are going to be okay, and it is going to be all right.
Yeah.
For everybody that's listening.
Damn it, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger thing, right? We've said that forever.
Yeah, I've said that.
It's a family motto. Because I guess that's what, that's the end of the physical story here is, all right, if there is a death, that ended. There's not much you can do about that. Then that's just done. It's the remaining time that you have, the remaining time that we have to do something positive with as we go through it.
Okay.
Yeah. Ending on that note, we love you guys so much. We're definitely sending out love and light and healing energy to all the people affected by this. And, you know, just knowing that this is a cycle, we're going through it. We can't avoid it. It's just what it is, and that it'll all turn out okay.
All right.
All right. Signing off for today. Bye, witches.
Bye, witches.